All right, everybody. So our lesson for today is I want to show you guys how to access something called Classlink, which should be familiar to many of you because I know a number of your other teachers are going to be showing you this as well. But I'm going to take it a step further. Once I show you how to log into Classlink, I'm going to also show you how to log into our Drive file stream and our remote app server, and then show you how all of that stuff relates to handing in assignments and such. All right. So these lessons will all string together and sort of build off of one another. So before we do any of these, it's pretty important that you open up a web browser. I would recommend that you use Chrome. And you want to make sure, you want to verify that you're logged in as your Selinsgrove user account, right? So instead of mstechedstudent@seal-pa.org, it should be your username at seal-pa.org. And if you have that, that's a really good first step, okay? The other thing that I'll have you then do is open up a new browser window. You can just click plus here and open up a new browser window. And probably the easiest way to do this is if you go to launchpad.classlink.com/seals. You can pause my video here if you need to be able to see that. I know Mrs. Bastion is doing a video on this as well. You can drop that in there. Honestly, I would highly encourage you to save that as a favorite. Put it somewhere within Google so that you can just click a button. You don't have to type this in every time, all right? That will bring you to this login screen. So here, I want you to log in as your username. So I'm not going to use my real name username. I'm going to use my MS Tech Ed student name right here. So MS Tech Ed student, this is my student account, and I'll do my password that goes with it too, if I can type correctly. And I'm going to do sign in. And you just have to be patient. There's going to be a lot of kids hitting this server at the same time. And so just be patient. If it's not logging you in, the worst thing you could do is keep clicking a button. That's going to cause you problems. All right. So we're into Classlink right now. And honestly, for a lot of your other classes, this is all you're going to use. You're going to use the stuff that's here. For Tech Ed, we've got to go a step further. So step one is logging into Classlink. Step two is going down here to My Files. We're going to go ahead and click that. It's going to bring up a new browser window. And for the first time, if you're doing this for the first time, there's a step that you're going to have to take to make sure that your Google Drive is connected with your username, all right? And you can see that mine's trying to populate. Again, I just have to be patient and let it load here. So what I'll ask you guys to do, mine's already logged in, so I'm going to actually disconnect it and reconnect it to show you the process. So you want to click Manage Services. And ideally, when you click this in the future, if you see that this has a green check mark, we're good to go and you can leave. You can just, you can just kind of back out of here and go back to your other link. But if it's not connected, you need to connect it. So, and occasionally we'll have problems where we have to disconnect it and reconnect it. As you notice, I just hit the disconnect button and it disconnected it. I'm going to click connect. It's going to go back in and ask me, hey, which Google account do you want to connect with? You can see that I have a lot of them. So I'm going to go to my MS Tech Ed student account. It's going to, if you read through this, it's just saying that it would like to link it. Just say allow. And now you're connected, okay? So honestly, you don't even necessarily need to keep this open at this point. You can just close it, all right? If you did go back down there and you clicked My Files, when we go back in and we click Manage Services, you'll see that it's in green and that's a good thing. So I'm just going to close that, all right? So that's the second step that we need to do. Here's a place where you're going to go where probably I'm the only teacher that's going to take you into here. So this is the remote application server. I'm going to go ahead and click that. And as this is loading, it's going to ask you for your password, your username and your password again. The difference about this is in the past, we didn't have to have @seal-pa.org. Now you do. So you want to have your username at seal-pa.org. So mine's MS Tech Ed Student at seal-pa.org. We want to make sure that you get your password correct here too. So I'm going to put my correct password in here. And I'm going to go to sign in. I would recommend saving this. So the next time that you log in, you don't have to assume different identities like I do. It will just log you in and everything will be good. So there we go. So let me explain what the remote desktop web client is. It allows all of these applications that you see here to run on your computer. So normally, as an 8th grader, if you were going to run SolidWorks, the only way you could do that is if you had a Windows-based machine and SolidWorks was installed on it. What we're doing is actually using a web browser through the remote desktop web client to access applications that we have sitting on a remote server somewhere, and SolidWorks is one of them that we will use. Photoshop is one of them. So that part's pretty cool, actually, how it all is set up. All right. So that's the purpose of this being here. The thing that you have to do before we access any of these other programs is you have to click the drive file stream. So I'm going to go ahead and click that and say allow. And oftentimes, this thing will just end up with a black screen. We'll see what happens here as it opens up. Again, this sometimes takes a couple of minutes, so you have to be patient. And you just have to let it load. The last thing you want to do is keep clicking, and I'm pretty impatient, so it's hard for me as well too. But don't be up here hitting the refresh button or canceling, and don't do any of that at this point. All right, so let's let it do its thing. So the first time you log in, this is going to come up and it's going to ask you to sign into Google. So you have to use your username. There we go. MS Tech Ed Student. That's, ooh, I missed it. Sorry. At seal-pa.org. I'm going to put my password in here, hopefully without spelling it incorrectly. And I'm going to let it do its thing. So again, this is on a remote server being accessed through a web browser. So just be patient. All right. You can look through all this if you would like. I'm not going to bore you guys with this. You can see that you stream Google Drive files right to your computer. So that the benefit of what we're doing is it allows you to take the programs that were in the remote desktop web client, and you can actually save those files that you're working on to Google Drive. It doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but it's a huge deal. So super, super important. I'm just going to close this out of here. As I do, I should get a white window that pops up, and you can see the Google Drive file stream is here. If I come over here to this PC and I expand this, you will see that not only all the drives that you would normally find, like let me click this to make it bigger. Normally you would have like a C drive, which is the hard drive. Now this is not the hard drive on your current computer. This is the hard drive on that remote computer. And it doesn't do us any good to save anything to there, right? Or to the downloads there, to the documents there, because you won't be able to necessarily access those. What is important is that we can now save files to the Google Drive file stream. Super, super, super huge, okay? I'm just gonna close this out of here for now. Occasionally, when you guys open that, you'll just get a blank screen here, a black screen, and nothing shows up. So if you go back over to all resources and you just click the drive file stream again and hit allow, usually the second time through, you'll get this white window to pop up here and everything should be awesome, okay? Super important that you have the Google Drive file stream. Now, the reason that I show you guys that is because if, let's say I'm in SolidWorks, I'm going to go ahead and click this and I'm going to hit allow. And we're going to be patient. I'm going to put this video on pause as it opens. It might take a minute or two for it to open. So I've waited a little while with SolidWorks, and one of the things that I forgot from the spring is if you've waited a couple of minutes and it hasn't opened, I remembered that sometimes it like gets stuck in the background. So if you just come over here and let's say, well, now I'm going to click Photoshop and open Photoshop. It's funny because once Photoshop starts to open, SolidWorks will pop up in the background. So we'll just be patient here. I don't know if you noticed it flash there, but it just popped up in the background. And if I simply go up here and click this, sorry, allergies, you'll see that SolidWorks then opened. All right, so I'm just going to say yes here. And I'll accept. And I'll get into this for my Photoshop or my SolidWorks kids. I'll get into this at a later time, but I just want to show you why this is a big deal. So as SolidWorks opens, what it is also going to do is it's going to give you an opportunity to save to the Google Drive, which will then allow you to hand your stuff in through Google Classroom, which is awesome. It's just a great feature. So I'm just going to close this out of here. If I go to File, Open, and I look over here under this PC, if you see what I'm talking about here, in addition to the C drive, you will also see that there's a Google Drive file stream and some other stuff as well too. So that gives you the ability to, if you browse into there and into My Drive and Classroom and anything that maybe you have saved. Let's see if I have something in my old 8th grade. Yep. So here is a drawing that I can actually open from Google Drive, which is something that we wouldn't have been able to do in the past. And it's kind of cool that we're able to string all these other programs together to access and save and hand in and such. So that is a pretty concise demonstration of how to make sure you have Google Chrome linked, how to open Classlink, which of course if you go back to the sign-in page, which I'm not going to, you can get into there and then link your Drive file stream, which is in here. Hopefully you guys remember that. And then ultimately clicking the remote app server, which I'm not going to click again and open up another window, but here it is here. One final thing before we log out is, if you notice I have SolidWorks open right here. If I click back to all resources, here's all those other programs that I have the opportunity to open as well too. So, Drive file stream, I could open there, like the File Explorer, which is something for those of you that play around on a Windows computer. You'll see that if we open File Explorer, there's the Drive file stream that's showing up in there as well too. So Drive file stream is really important for tech ed. I would imagine as other teachers get used to this and they see how many different programs are available to them now that didn't used to be, so like Excel and PowerPoint, and Word is in there as well too, that maybe they want access to that as well too. Or you guys, maybe you want to build a video project. So Adobe Premiere is a phenomenal video editing tool. So these are all things that we'll get into at a later time. For now, this is a basic way to have us access our programs remotely, and you'll have this resource to fall back on and look at anytime you're having any issues. So hope you guys understand it. If you don't, reach out to me, and have a good day.